Hear our next speaker, and the reason I'm interested in hearing our next speaker is because this may come as a shock to y'all, but we're not average Americans. I mean, maybe the cowboy hats and the shirts gave you a little bit of a clue, but I think it's hard for us sometimes to understand what voters who are not active or active in the Republican Party are thinking, because as far as we're concerned, we knew Obama was going to be a terrible president before he ever got elected. So we're mystified that anybody would vote for him, let alone over 50% of the people. So this fella is interesting because he kind of tells us what other folks are thinking. As a matter of fact, I just kind of get nervous when I see him, because have you ever seen that Fox thing where he does the little squiggly lines? I just worry sometimes, like if I'm in his presence, all of a sudden are these little squiggly lines going to come up while I'm talking, and I'm probably not doing as good as I think I'm doing. So without further ado, here's Rick Luntz, and he's our guest speaker.
That I can start this is God, I love Texas. How many of you have seen me do this before at a convention? Who's here at this convention for the first time at a political convention? Okay. This is... by the way, someone please bring one of these onto the floor, because I want to wear one of your jackets tonight on Fox News. But you got to understand that I'm an extra fat, so I'll need a large one. And so I do want to say this, because Texas is always very friendly, but when I walked in here, and I don't know who it was, but it was somebody who was wearing your Texas clothing, comes up to me and says, "You're not nearly as fat in person as you are on television." So hopefully you're not going to say that he's not nearly as dumb as he looks. I want to give you a couple ideas about language, and then I'm going to respond to whatever questions you got. But you got several members of your congressional delegation here. And I'm very careful, because I know that the web will track everything you say and do. But for the members that I can see in front of me right now, you've got the best congressional delegation in America. Please tell me.
Somebody give that man a
I will never, ever, ever, as a political person, supposed to put a hat on. If I do this. And then it's also don't mess with Texas. Okay, but just wait for the record. I just heard a guy yell, "Ride 'em, cowboy." That had a very different meaning in the Clinton administration. I like to eat this. Can I eat the hat? Oh. Listen, I'm from the Northeast. We don't know this stuff down here. So, hey, do you know what? The South will rise again. How about that? Okay, why don't you take out paper and pencil, because I want this to be useful to you. I want to do something that's helpful. Now everyone gets quiet. And I want to give you 3 specific things to talk about, and then I'm going to respond to whatever questions you all have, and I hope you got questions. I've got a gift for you and a very special introduction. And I mean this. I say this, and people come up and they say, hey, it's great to be in Texas and all that. I told my guys there, and they'll tell you this, that there's no, I mean, you guys, I don't know if it's in the water. I don't know if it's because it's really hot. But this is this is my favorite delegation, and when I called you chairman to be able to speak, this was the one that mattered the most to me because this one's the most fun, always. So, I don't like standing on stage, so I want to get a little bit closer.
Oh, great.
3 things for you. Number 1, 4 words. This is simple. Barack Obama constantly talks about the middle class. That's his goal in the election. He wants this to be a discussion about the middle class. Well, there's one segment of American society that more Americans want to defend, and they want you to fight for more than the middle class, and that's hard-working taxpayers. Fighting for hard-working taxpayers is the single strongest 4-word statement that you can make. It should be on every bumper sticker, it should be on every lawn sign, it should be a part of every campaign that you do. By 3-2, the public wants to fight for hardworking taxpayers even more than the middle class. And by 2-1, they think that the Republicans do better than the Democrats on that. So that's statement number 1. Number 2 has to do with the budget. How many of you are grandparents here? Raise your hands. This is for you all. I need to use careful language. But your grandkids are screwed. And I want you to look up while you're there. I know you take pictures of all this, and I'll work my way through here. I want you to look up on the side of the convention hall, because there is a banner up there, and it's the debt clock. And that debt clock is at 15 trillion, 900 billion. I'm going to get to that number in a moment. The public wants no more budget tricks, no more accounting gimmicks, no more empty promises. You have the right to know the truth, and President Obama has the responsibility to tell you the truth. That is the strongest statement that you can make on the budget. And instead of taking pictures, you should write this stuff down. You get pictures off the web. Really awful pictures, but this is good. This is great. You know, I'm going to pick up lots of stuff here. The only thing I'm not going to pick up apparently is food, but that's what I don't feed you. Where's the chairman? How many of you want to get fed? Let's start a battle right now.
Save money!
You taught them that crap? You know what? You are smarter than you look. I'm going to say it one more time. No more accounting tricks, no more budget gimmicks, no more empty promises. You have the right to know the truth. And President Obama has a responsibility to tell you the truth, because that matters more to anyone. They want a budget that balances. They want a debt that is shrinking, not increasing. And they expect Washington to make a difference. And the third thing, and these are 3 numbers for you. 24 million, 716 billion, and 16 trillion. The 24 million is the number of people who are unemployed and looking for a job. Why is it that Republicans always talk about 8.1 or 8.8 or 9%? No one knows the difference between 8.3 and 8.5. It's a statistic. It doesn't mean anything to people. It's the business school at Rice. It's nothing. 24 million unemployed and looking for work means everything. Please, I ask you, humanize, personalize, and individualize your language. And that's what 24 million does. Second, 716 billion is the amount of money that was taken out of Medicare to pay for Obamacare. Did you want Obamacare? No! I didn't hear you.
No!
Do you believe in Medicare? It was a promise. No, I know that. Actually, no, tell me, do something for me. How many of you wish that, no, I'm not going to do this because you guys got reporters here. I'm not going to ask a question I don't want the answer to. But when it comes to Medicare, it is a promise. And you did pay for it, and now that money's been taken out to pay for Obamacare. And the third number is 16 trillion. Because that number you cannot escape. And here's the problem. Even if Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan are elected, that's still out there. I'd like to be able to tell you that if they're elected, that's going to be solved. It ain't. It's already that much. But I want you to do two things, and then I'm going to take your questions. I give you those numbers deliberately, because this has to be a campaign of substance. This has to be a campaign of details. This has to be a campaign of a real plan. And the second thing is, I expect you to do it in a civil and decent and respectful way. I can't tell you how much I resent the Occupy Wall Street people. And I tell you this because there's such a difference. I watch these, they're not journalists, but I watch people compare the Tea Party and Occupy Wall Street. I was there when the Tea Party had a rally with 250,000 people in Washington, D.C. You know that the mall was cleaner when you left than when you came. You didn't just clean up your own trash, you cleaned up everybody else's trash. Do you know how disgusting the areas where Occupy took over and the way that they behaved? There is no comparison. Fight them on it, challenge them on it, but don't yell at the reporters who are covering you. And second, never engage in age-based politics, gender-based politics, ethnicity-based politics. Barack Obama, and it upsets me, and I know that some of you watch me on Fox and you're not happy always with what I say. I know that. But my job is to be accurate. My job is to tell the truth. And there's sometimes truth is tough to say, but I have to do it. But now I'm speaking to you as Frank Luntz, as a human being, not a Fox contributor. The reason why I love this country, and my parents taught me, is that anyone could grow, even me, could grow up and someday hold a microphone in front of several hundred people. If I worked hard, and I played by the rules, and I busted my ass, and I never gave in, and I always told the truth. I resent and I deplore race-based politics. I deplore 1% versus 9%. And I don't understand why he does it. Because in the end, there's something actually more important than an election. And that's freedom. Enough for me. Now it's up to you. What do you want to know? In the very back, which is always a dangerous thing to do, and he's one of the guys in a suit, so that's really scary.
Obama is still, right now, relatively close to Romney's percentage. And everybody in this room is wondering why he's not at 20%, because we know that most Americans wouldn't buy what he's selling. But what are they doing that's convincing people to keep him so high in the polls?
It's a great question.
To know that
Barack Obama is a great communicator. He is. He reads a teleprompter better than a Hollywood celebrity. By the way, by comparison, John McCain, remember him? Stevie Wonder read a teleprompter better than John Look, and Obama's an incredibly hard worker. He knocked on 100. You're going to think that this is a setup. Have I ever met you before? And I promise promise I will never meet him again. Barack Obama knocked on 100 doors in one day trying to find the last undecided voters. Hillary Clinton also knocked on 100 doors, but she was just trying to find Bill. What, I can't tell you that John Kerry reminded me of the tree that threw apples at Dorothy the Wizard of Oz. You guys are from, and I'm going to answer your question. You need to do me a favor. You need to bring me back to it because I got one more line to do. Are any of you from New Mexico? Because I'm not speaking there. Any of you from New Mexico? One person. Two people. Have you guys heard of Roswell, New Mexico? You know Roswell's the place where the aliens landed? Tomorrow is the 64th anniversary of the alien landing in Roswell. Did you also know that exactly 9 months to the day that the aliens landed, Al Gore was born? Now, I used to tell people this. 11 days before the election, in the Rose Garden, standing next to Bill Clinton, a reporter asked Al Gore, and I quote, "Mr. Vice President, are you an alien?" He starts pounding the podium, "I am a human being." If you have to assert that you are human, you are not going to be elected President of the United States. Barack Obama knows how to use language. He is now, to me, he's a student of it. And he learned this over the last 20 years, and he's brilliant. Mitt Romney is not a great communicator. He is a brilliant businessman. So the question is what, and this is the question I would ask, what has charisma gotten you? Where have we come in the last 4 years based on communication? Isn't it time that we voted for character? And isn't it time that we voted for a record of success? Do it, you never personalize it. You give him credit. He was a great communicator. And by the way, you got 7% of Americans that you're going to have to turn. And this is what I say to you House guys. 7% you've got to turn, and you're not going to turn someone who voted for Barack Obama by yelling at them or telling them they made a stupid decision. You win them over by saying, I know why you voted for him. He offered hope and change. But did we get it? He took a bad situation and he made it worse. And now here's the question. If this is how he performed over the last 4 years, what makes you think he performed any better over the next 4 years? I really want you to ask questions rather than make statements. I come from a question background. By the way, and this is a dangerous thing to admit, but I'm Jewish. Is anyone in here Jewish? Raise your hands. Don't raise your hands. Have you all not learned anything from history? Every time you responded to that question, it hasn't worked out for us. I've seen the movie, our character doesn't live to the end. Another question from someplace up here. You got it.
Yes, the question I have, it seems like a real dividing line is for whether you pay taxes or whether you get benefits from the government. Do you hold on that?
Question is, a real dividing line is whether you pay taxes or whether you get benefits from the government, and that is very true. And by the way, right now, only 47%, it's down to 53%, 47% of Americans don't pay any income taxes. This is what de Tocqueville wrote about in the early 1800s. When we reach a situation where more people take from the government than pay the government, that's when things flip. I am so nervous. Again, speaking as myself, and I hear this all the time about this being the most important election. Every election I have lived in since 1980 was the most important election. This is the most important election. And you just described one of the reasons why, which is that you reach a point where people vote based on what they get, not what they give. And here's the other thing. You know, it's John Kennedy, and I'm a fan of President Kennedy. What was his great phrase in the inauguration? Ask not.
Country
What your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. In the last 4 years, it seems like it's been ask not. what you can do, ask what your government can do for you. I don't understand that. So the point that you make is a very legitimate one, and I think you're going to hear it during the debates. And speaking of the debates, are you not excited about Paul Ryan? I have on good authority that Amtrak actually created the quiet car because of Joe Biden. That debate is going to be absolutely remarkable. It's going to be such an interesting challenge. Yes, sir.
What do you think about proposed Rule 12?
What do I think about?
Proposed Rule 12.
What I think about the proposed rule? What I think is that there's a hell of a lot more that unites you in this room than divides you. Stop dividing the party. Why there's a concern. It's a legitimate concern. But you're going to have this fight 70 days before this election. This
12 is about
okay.
uniting the party. It's
Sir,
not about disenfranchising the grassroots.
either sit down or I will leave.
November.
I'm not here to have an argument.
Thank you.
And I'm watching what's going on, by the way. And I don't know where you stand on this one, but you realize that the Senate is this close to going Republican. Again, I'm telling you the truth here. If that man in Missouri, who I knew and liked as a congressman, does not step aside, not only does that state go Democrat, but I am watching the numbers with Barack Obama and Mitt Romney, and the Republicans are collapsing in Missouri as we speak. What he said was wrong. This is not an issue of left versus right. This is not an issue of pro. By the way, how many of you in this room are pro-life? You realize what he's doing to your reputation by what he said.
Yep.
If you believe in pro-life, and you believe in the principles that you represent in this room, he has to go.
That's right.
Got time for 3 more? 3 more. Something, so a little, yes ma'am, right there. Yes. I gotta come closer to you so I can hear you.
Yell.
By the way, I love this about Texas, because when I call on you guys, you always tell me where you're from. And at some point, will someone teach me the Texas song?
Yes.
Go ahead. Oh wait, hold on 1 second. Whose phone just went off? Whose phone just went off? Come on. Right here, yours? I will pay $20 if you'll change his ring to play that funky music, white boy. Let that go off in church. Sorry, go ahead. Okay, this is hard because I have to summarize. She said that she ran into people coming to the convention. They were actually angry that she was coming. So she says to them, if you want the government to take care of you, vote Democrat. If you want the freedom, the responsibility for yourself, vote Republican. If people get angry at you just for going to a convention, you can't win them over. It's one of the things that I learned very early in life. Now, this is a joke. Where are my reporters here? Because I have to make sure I make this. Reporters over here. Guys, this is a joke. Do you all understand this is a joke? And they're over here too. You all agree it's a joke?
Joe.
There are Democrats and there are Americans, and we all have to learn how to get along. Go ahead.
Washington, some of the Rangers and the Cowboys.
By the way, I'm a huge sports fan, and I will be at. I was at the Texas game when you guys clinched to go to the World Series, and they actually let me out on the field, which was a big mistake because I didn't leave for 4 days. Go ahead.
Seeing a lot of information as we've talked about all the numbers support Romney. I mean, the economic numbers and all that. But what I've seen is that one of the major problems is unfavorable for about 47%. What do you recommend on how to lower those and make, really that's the only bad number that he's got?
The question is, Mitt Romney's numbers are 47%, which is pretty high, and they are pretty high. What I recommend? Simple, kick some ass. Mitt Romney created more jobs in his career. Actually, I wonder if you added it up, whether Mitt Romney's created more jobs than Barack Obama's lost. The line that I think is, instead of spending so much time about how Mitt Romney spends his money, you should spend a lot more time thinking about how Barack Obama spends your money.
Yeah.
And I do think Mitt Romney made a mistake. Yes, I'm going to go back there. You're going to have the last question, and then I'm going to introduce someone special to you. No, he's going to get it, but hold on. Mitt Romney spent way too much time waiting to respond in Ohio to the attacks on Boehner. And this is a message to you in this room. You cannot wait. If someone is telling mistruths about you, you have the responsibility to tell the truth back. And I thought that he stayed too silent for too long, which is why this convention matters so much. I'm going to give you the last question, and then I got something to present to the chairman, and then we'll call it quits. But I want to see you on the convention floor also. Yes, sir. Shout it out.
Frank, the question is, which states do we target, which groups in those states, and how do we reach them?
Yeah, you want to do something really cool that you'll never forget? Do you remember those freedom rides in the 1960s?
We're doing it.
Why don't you take a freedom ride up to Ohio? You're going? Who's going to Ohio? Bless you. Good for you. That is absolutely, you want to take a bus to Ohio? You want, oh, you know what? Yes. But here's the deal. I want you to have the biggest impact possible. I would send half of the group to Ohio and half of the group to Virginia. Because if you win Ohio and Virginia, based on the way everything else is going, if you win Ohio and Virginia, Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan are the next presidents and vice presidents. I have something special for you. Mr. Chairman, if you can come on up for a second. I always want to have an impact, and you guys have been great to me, and this is a gift to you because of how great your delegation has been over the last 15 years from now. And I've been doing this for 18 years now. How many of you watch Fox? How many of you watch CNN? Only the politicians up here. How many of you watch MSNBC? If you watch MSNBC, get out.
Opposition research.
MSNBC, the only news network with more letters in its name than viewers. And by the way, one more thing, because I want to pay tribute to one of my favorite people who won't be at this convention, and I don't want him ever forgotten. We had a great Vice President, Dick Cheney. Cheney, he could have shot the dog, he could have shot the truck, he shot the lawyer. And he got the lawyer to apologize for being shot. So what I want to do is I want to bring up, you guys watch my focus groups?
Yes.
Have you seen that great artwork that's behind it, the Founding Fathers? It's pretty cool, right? I brought to you what I believe is the greatest living artist in America today, the man that paints all of those paintings. Steve Penley, come on up. That's brilliant. And he's going to be standing over here. If any of you wants to connect to him, if you're interested in getting his artwork, we're going to sit tight over here for a couple minutes, so come on up. Actually made him bring business cards because I want his paintings all throughout America. Would you know that you have the painting in the lobby of the Marriott down here? It's amazing, it's beautiful. But I want to leave something behind. So Steve Penley, over the last few hours, painted something that will go in your party headquarters, and I think you're going to like it. Now we're going to do something, I think they actually call this a Texas auction, because to me this is all about freedom. I want you to take home something special. These cost $20,000 or $30,000. Would anyone like this for $1,000? Would anyone want this for $2,000? Back there? You're 2,000? Hold it up. Anybody want this for 2,000? You have it for 2. Anyone want it for 3,000? Anyone for 3,000?
3,000 over there.
You're 3. Anyone for 4,000?
4,000.
Where's my 4,000? Raise your hand. Anyone for 5,000? Anyone for 5,000? Where's my 4,000 person? 4,000 going once. 4,000 going twice. The gentleman with the Texas flag. I want to thank you for this opportunity. I hope that I'll get a chance to see you tonight at the convention. Say hello to Steve Penley if you want to chat with him any further. And please, shh. I've been all over this country. I've probably done 50 DOS sessions in your state. I love coming to Texas because your heart and your soul is as big as your state itself. Don't let anyone ruin it. Don't let anyone talk you down. I lived for 3 years in Britain, went to Oxford. And whenever they wanted to make fun of America, they would use a Texas accent. Britain's got nothing on you. Sorry,